My name is Eleanor Hayes, and I'm 76 years old. I've been awake since before the sun, sitting at my kitchen table, because something finally settled in me last night, and once it did, I couldn't push it back down again. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm not sick in any dramatic way. My heart still beats, my legs still work, though slower now. But I feel the narrowing. The way life closes in, gently but firmly, like someone drawing the curtains at the end of the day. And I realized I didn't want to leave without saying this out loud at least once. Not to be forgiven. Not to be understood. Just to be honest. For most of my life, I carried a low, constant guilt. It was always there, humming underneath everything. Even during the good years. Especially during the good years. Guilt for wanting my own life. I didn't have words for it back then. I just knew that whenever I felt a pull towards something that was mine alone, something quiet inside me would tighten. Like I was doing something wrong just by wanting it. I thought that was normal. I thought that was what being a good woman felt like. Now, at 76, I finally understand where that guilt came from. And why it never left me. I'm telling this because you're here. Not because I need absolution. Not because I expect anything back. I just don't want this understanding to die with me. These days are simple. I wake up early because my body does, not because I have anywhere to go. I make tea, the same brand I've been buying for years, even though I don't love it. Old habits outlive their usefulness. I sit by the window. I watch people hurry past with their phones pressed to their ears, their faces tense with urgency. They look important. Needed. I remember what that felt like. The house is quiet now. Too quiet. My husband, Robert, has been gone 7 years. Cancer. Efficient, the way it was described. That word still makes me angry. There was nothing efficient about watching a person disappear piece by piece. Our daughter lives 3 states away. She calls when she remembers. Which is often enough that I don't feel abandoned, but not enough that I feel central. I don't blame her. I raised her to build a life. That's part of this too. Sometimes I try to remember when the guilt started. There wasn't a single moment. It seeped in early, like dampness you don't notice until the walls begin to warp. I grew up in a small house with thin walls and a mother who was always tired. She wasn't cruel. She just didn't belong to herself. None of the women I knew did. My mother woke before everyone else. She cooked, cleaned, packed lunches, wiped faces. She went to bed last. If she wanted something, she didn't say it out loud. Wanting was indulgent. Wanting was dangerous. I learned that by watching her swallow herself day after day. So when I felt wants rise in me, even as a girl, I learned to distrust them. I wanted to draw. I wanted to leave town. I wanted quiet. I wanted to be alone without feeling selfish. Each time, I felt a pinch of shame, a sense that I was reaching for something I hadn't earned. I married Robert when I was 22. He was steady, kind enough. He had a job at the mill and plans that fit neatly into the life I was supposed to want. I didn't feel fireworks. I felt relief. Relief felt safer. We rented a small apartment with brown carpet that never quite looked clean. I worked as a secretary at an insurance office. My days were filled with typing, filing, smiling when spoken to. I was good at it. Being good at things became my identity. In those early years, I sometimes felt a restlessness. Not unhappiness exactly. More like a question that kept tapping at me. Is this it? But I didn't ask it out loud. I folded it away. Questions like that felt ungrateful. People had less. People struggled. Who was I to want more than what I'd been given? When I became pregnant, everyone smiled like a problem had been solved, as if my purpose had finally settled into place. Motherhood gave my guilt a new shape. It became useful, justified. Anytime I felt the urge to step away, to be someone separate, the guilt rushed in to correct me. Good mothers didn't need space. Good mothers didn't resent. Good mothers didn't imagine different lives. I loved my daughter. I still do. That love is real. But love doesn't erase the self. It just complicates it. There were afternoons when she napped, and the house fell into that rare silence. I would sit on the edge of the couch and feel something rise up in me. A longing I didn't know what to do with. Sometimes I'd open a book and not read a single word. Just hold it. As if holding a life different from mine might be enough. Then she'd wake. Or Robert would come home. And I'd stand up and resume my place. Years passed like that. Not painfully. Just steadily. Days stacking on days. I told myself I was doing the right thing. I told myself this was adulthood. Responsibility. Love expressed through sacrifice. And maybe it was. But something else was happening too, quietly. Each time I chose duty over desire, a small piece of me went unvisited. Not lost. Just unattended. I didn't see it then. There were opportunities. Nothing dramatic. A part-time course at the community college. A friend who asked if I wanted to share a studio space for art. A chance to transfer to a different department at work that required evening hours. Each time, the same calculation happened. Who would this inconvenience? Who would I be letting down? Why did I think I deserved this? The guilt always won. I remember one conversation in particular. I must have been in my late 30s. A coworker, Linda, asked me if I'd ever thought about doing something else. She said it casually, over lunch. I laughed. I said no, not really. I said I was lucky. I had everything I needed. She looked at me for a moment longer than expected. Then she nodded and changed the subject. I think about that look sometimes. Not pity. Recognition. The slow cost of these choices didn't announce itself. It accumulated in the background. I missed school events not because I wasn't there, but because I was distracted. My body present, my mind elsewhere. Already tired. I postponed friendships. There would be time later, I thought. When things settled down. I stayed in the same job for decades, not because it fulfilled me, but because it was familiar. Familiarity felt like virtue. Robert and I became efficient together. We coordinated schedules. We talked about logistics. We loved each other in the way people do when they've stopped asking questions. Occasionally, late at night, he would say something like, "You ever wonder what we'd be like if we'd made different choices?" My chest would tighten. I'd say something light. No point wondering. He'd turn over. Conversation closed. I don't blame him. I helped build that silence. The guilt shifted as I aged. It became less about wanting and more about exhaustion. I felt guilty for being tired. Guilty for not being endlessly available. When my parents aged, I stepped in without hesitation. Of course I did. That's what daughters do. I visited, cooked, managed appointments. I did it well. Everyone told me how good I was. How lucky they were to have me. Those compliments landed heavy. Understanding, now, that they came with an unspoken expectation. That I would continue to disappear gracefully. Sometimes, driving home late from my mother's house, I would grip the steering wheel and feel tears rise for no clear reason. I didn't know what I was mourning. Now I do. It wasn't until Robert got sick that the turning point arrived. And even then, it was subtle at first. Illness rearranges priorities, but it also exposes truths you've been avoiding. The caretaking felt familiar. I slipped into it easily. Too easily. But something shifted when the doctors started speaking in shorter sentences. When plans narrowed to days and weeks instead of years. One afternoon, sitting beside his hospital bed, he looked at me and said, "You know, you could have been anything." He said it without accusation. Almost with wonder. I smiled, the way I always did. I said I was what I needed to be. He squeezed my hand. But his eyes looked sad. After he died, the house felt hollow. not just empty. Hollow. Like the walls were waiting for something that wasn't coming. People checked in. They brought casseroles. They told me to take care of myself. For the first time in decades, no one needed me in the same way. That's when the guilt came roaring back. Louder than ever. I didn't know who I was without obligation. Wanting felt obscene. Like theft. I tried filling my days. Volunteering. Committees. Anything that gave me a role. But at night, the question returned. What would it have been like to live for myself without apology? Then came the realization that landed last night, heavy and final. The guilt I carried wasn't because wanting my own life was wrong. It was because I was taught that my life belonged to everyone else first. I had internalized a debt that was never mine to pay. Once I saw that, truly saw it, the guilt cracked open. Not disappeared. Just explained. And with that understanding came grief. Deep, quiet grief. Because there are things that can't be fixed. I can't go back and choose differently. I can't retrieve the years I spent minimizing myself. I can't meet the version of me that might have existed. I can't ask my younger self what she wanted before she learned to be ashamed of it. That's gone. What remains is acceptance, mixed with sorrow. Gratitude tangled with regret. I had a family. I had love. I had purpose. Those things matter. I don't deny them. But I also gave up more than I realized. And pretending otherwise would be another kind of disappearance. If you're listening to this, wherever you are in your life, I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know your responsibilities. I just want you to know this: wanting your own life is not a betrayal. It doesn't mean you love less. It means you exist. I wish I had known that wanting space, creativity, solitude, growth didn't make me selfish. It made me human. I wish I had trusted that my life had value even when it wasn't being used. If this resonates with you, you don't need to change everything. You don't need grand gestures. Just notice the guilt when it appears. Ask where it came from. Who taught it to you? That question alone might soften something. As for me, I'll finish my tea. I'll watch the morning settle. I'll live whatever time I have left a little more honestly. Not louder. Not bigger. Just truer. And when the day comes that I'm remembered, if I am at all, I hope it's not only as someone who gave everything away. I hope it's also as someone who finally understood why she was allowed to want.